Hello, everyone. This is JPL, and today I'm joined with
Christopher.
yes, and we are
Podcast name in brackets.
Anyway, Christopher, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing fine. I start classes tomorrow.
All right. You're still in college.
I have one more year.
One more year. How are you feeling
Ah,
about all of this?
I mean, kind of like stressed because it's my last year,
Hmm.
and it's like, I gotta
Actually, do good this time.
be an adult after this and make decisions in life.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I showed up to like production interviews yesterday. No, Friday. And like I showed up to the interview and the people there were like, John, I thought you graduated. What are you still doing here?
Oh no. That's honestly almost embarrassing.
Like each year I keep telling them
Uh-huh.
like this is when I'm doing it. They keep asking me when. And I keep telling them this year, this thing. I don't know why they keep forgetting.
That's almost embarrassing. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's just I don't know. But
Okay then.
yeah. So this year I will be doing sound for a show as part of my senior project.
Okay. That's a pretty solid senior project.
Yeah.
Relatively stress-free, you would think, because that's just
I
what you normally do.
I think is also I'm designing the sound for the show.
Oh, okay, that's stressful.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'll do. Luckily,
Yeah.
I work with Greg,
Mm-hmm.
so
So he could
he'll.
just do the work for you.
Oh no, like he could like show me through the process,
Yeah.
tell me what sites to get sounds from, and like just that general thing. I I don't have much worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just luckily like it's the last show of this semester. So I have
Okay.
plenty of time to work on it.
Good.
Other than that, I have no idea what the assignment is.
So they chose a senior project for you.
Yes.
Interesting.
So like they say like John, we gotta do a senior project. What do you want to do? What position do you want to work in? I'm like, I just want to work sound. And I'm like, okay, well maybe you can design sound for one of our shows, and we'll think about what show to put on. And then I'm on the show. I also auditioned for the new radio drama they're working on, but like I didn't get in, which makes me sad.
So what audio drama is this time?
So they're doing Sam and Fawson's audio drama, Chicken Skin, which was the test audio drama that they had at SonicCon. One of their two main ones that they premiered. One was the one that the writing team was working on that they were doing, and the other one Sam just finished in like a month because they needed another one, and that one tested better, so they're gonna do a few more episodes of that one.
I wish I could remember. I remembered the one they were
You
trying
weren't
to
there.
do. Oh, okay. So it was the second year.
This is the second year. You weren't there,
Okay.
so you wouldn't know what show they were doing.
Okay.
But it was just it's an episodic one where each episode is its own story versus the other one where it's a whole season is a story.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just like that other one better.
Hmm.
We're gonna do more.
Cool.
I wish I was a part of it. I'm just sad.
I'm sorry.
But hey, that's that.
That's that.
But yeah, I start classes tomorrow. I don't know what I'm doing. So we'll see how that goes.
You can do it.
You've
done it before. You can do it again.
Yeah, I'm on a diet, so that's fun.
How long? When did you start, and how long do you think it's gonna last?
Started about a week ago.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make it last the whole year.
Oh wow. Okay.
The school year, at least. There'll be like a couple weeks maybe for like Christmas and Thanksgiving, of course.
Right.
But I want to try and get to that by the end.
Okay. Good luck.
Good luck.
John, I don't mean it like that.
No, I know what you mean.
Oh my gosh.
I know what you mean. Hopefully it's good luck
I hope so.
and I'm able to do it
Mm-hmm.
like this long. The longest time I did before was before I came to college for my senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because I was doing it for a role in the play where we were doing a play about the Holocaust.
Mm.
And like I was like, I was a Jewish man. I was like, I should be skinnier for this role. And so like I took on a diet. It wasn't really skinny, but at least I
Tried.
did something, you know.
So, do you try to do the diets for your weight, for just eating healthier? Like,
I
what's
mean,
the
it's
purpose?
mainly for the weight, you know, because I'm a big man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also good for health.
Mm-hmm.
Really, just the weight.
So, and diet essentially entails for you.
So diet means like we have to calculate what portions of foods I'm eating, keeping track of what carbs, proteins, and fats that I'm eating. We don't want carbs. We don't want any sugar, so I'm not eating anything with sugar. But like we want a good level of fat and a good level of protein. And we calculate that. So typically for a fat they have like a thing of either hot chocolate. We have a little thing we call fat bombs, which is pretty much our own version of a Reese's. It's like a fudge Reese's, but with no sugar, and it does the job of giving me fat, that the good fats that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And then we recently got protein shakes, so I can do that because those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can get fat plus protein. Oh, double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, smaller portions. It works.
Awesome.
That's fine. So yeah, big news of this week.
I was gonna ask, was there any news? Because I couldn't remember.
HBO Max.
Oh, HBO Max.
Like
Classic.
removing a bunch of stuff. So like
Yay.
specifically animation. I wrote you saying animation takes another loss with a lot of titles. They removed 40 titles from HBO Max. Most of them were exclusive originals.
That's
They're all
frustrating.
animations. None of their contracts were expiring. They just cut them to save money. It's one other thing of cutting costs.
What, does it cost anything to have them on the service?
Yes, because they're paying the creators to have their
lame.
work. And so, like, recently the creators are like, specifically for one, a show called Infinity Train, which is relatively popular. It says, like, the creators said that everything related to or mentioning this show is removed from HBO Max and Cartoon Network, the social media, and music streaming services.
Wow. No, oh my God, that is terrible.
Like, it's still available on, like, you could pay to watch the season on services. You know, like Amazon.
But even like music streaming for like soundtrack, that's ridiculous.
I know. The creators said that no one knew beforehand that they were being removed. And that they didn't really know until it was actually removed. And that yeah. And like they were talking about how they're being paid is not for themselves. They're explaining that the money that they get for the royalties that they get from the show doesn't go to them. It goes to their union, which goes to their health care.
Wow.
So essentially,
now they
they're
have
not.
no health care.
Yeah, their healthcare is massively defunded because of this. For this one specific show that they're talking about, which is like really scummy.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not even talking about it. But that was like, again, that's 40 shows. Granted, I was saying, looking at these shows, they didn't really do well when they were airing on Cartoon Network or on the service itself. But like, they still had a following of their own, and like a lot of them were originals. So it was still shocking. One of them was a DC show called Aquaman, King of Atlantis, which that one clearly that makes sense because it didn't really do well at all. So before they took it down, I watched that show. It's 3 episodes, 20 minutes. I really enjoyed it. It's pretty good. I'm gonna go out and actually buy the DVD.
Wow.
To support this. Because like it's scummy because that show has no other outlet than HBO Max, and now they have nothing. Also, they took out 200 episodes of Sesame Street were removed.
What? That feels so random.
Yeah, so they're removing stuff to save money. And what people are assuming with the Sesame Street is so they don't have to pay royalties to the special guest stars who appeared in those episodes. So right now they're doing everything they can to spend less money by like doing all this crap with animation and kids content. It's really kids content that they're doing this on. They don't care about anything else. It's kid content, which sucks. Really sucks for kids.
It really sucks because this is so out of the blue. If people were told, "Hey, we're doing this within a month," that's a different story, you know. But some people paid for this.
Yeah, it's a shame because they can't do things. Like some of these shows weren't even finished. Like they were still like planning, having episodes done that they were going to release. Now they have to wait to be able to release them somewhere else. Which is it's all a big shame. Another thing I've learned is that Young Justice season 5 has not been. There are no plans for that right now. Which is a show that I watched, but
my roommate I think likes the show.
Yeah, part of that problem is the creators, in that the show was canceled after 2 seasons, and they had the chance to come back and like finish the story, but like they're still not finishing the story. So like they've had 2 more seasons, and the story's still not done. Like they just need to wrap it up. Like that was my hope when they were bringing it back, was to complete the story. But they just kept dragging it out.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. I'm really worried about just animation in general for the future.
Yeah.
Because DC Animation has already had many cuts in its department.
You know what's? I just kind of thinking, like, you know, with Arcane, you know, that like seemed to like rock some waves last year. You know what I mean? And you would kind of hope like shows like that, and even just a growing adult animation would help change people's minds.
But no, like it's still there's still a prejudice against animation for being just for kids, and it's not worth anything. It's not worth spending the money on. So like I'm worried about future DC animation because they're some of the best that DC has, and I don't think they're gonna make any more movies after what they have is done.
That's a shame.
Which is a shame because they're so good. So how was your week?
Less stressful than previous week or two. By the way, I'm not talking specifics on here, but the thing I was trying for didn't happen.
Okay.
Anyway, so which is fine. So I have a trip this week, which is a little stressful because I haven't done something like this before. Traveling on my own. Not necessarily scared about flying. Not necessarily scared about airports. It's just I've never done it alone.
I know. I don't want to do it alone.
Yeah. I think actually, my first flight, actually, there's going to be some coworkers on that flight. So I'll probably go through the airport with them for that part. So that will probably give me enough confidence to do the rest on my own. So I shouldn't be too worried, but still nailing down a few details, but relatively I'm set. This is crazy. But yeah, this past week, it was hard getting past yesterday, last day of work before this week, because I'm just like, I don't want to be done. And now I'm done for a week. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing I watched was She-Hulk.
Yeah, let's get into She-Hulk then.
Mm-hmm.
In the first episode, what did you think?
In some ways, I'm glad it was short as it was.
Yeah.
In other ways, I felt too long.
Okay.
I don't know. It didn't necessarily have a lot to hold my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it just really made me wish it was a movie so we could just kind of get the story over with.
See, it's really more of an issue of they have to tell you the origin of the character. Because I'm hoping that the show is going to be much different.
That's true. So I was reading something. They were actually going to save the origin for episode 8.
Okay.
So if there's some complaints about the effects, that's a significant reason. It was supposed to release 2 months later.
Right.
But at the same, but they're like, people don't want to wait to hear the origin story.
Yeah, which is like what they did in the episode. It's like, you're not going to enjoy this lore show unless you know what's going on.
True.
Which I'm glad that they're aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which made it understandable and better.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I think they probably should have given us another episode to show us what this show is actually about versus something else.
I guess also was hoping for more fourth wall breaking. There wasn't enough, in my opinion. But again,
I'm sure we're going to get much more.
I hope we get more. But yeah, I like the Miss Marvel first episode. I was honestly blown away to a degree
because the style was fun.
The style was so fun, and then after the first episode, it went downhill. Especially as we hit episode 4. So I'm just like contrasting the two. I just don't like. I'm gonna watch every episode every week, mostly to see if I can make memes for Semper Metalum, which I couldn't think of any for this episode. But
okay.
I just don't feel like I want to watch the show every week. You know what I mean? I almost would rather want to binge the show at the end. You know what I mean? At the same time, I'm not gonna, number one, because of potential meme opportunities, but also number 2, to beat spoilers, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Again, you're right. Episode 2 will probably get more to the core of what the show will be about. I think they teased it a little bit at the end of this episode, but it really, there wasn't a lot that attracted me. I will say, a week or two before before the show released, looking more at the promo photos and trailers, really started to hit that Shrek look for me, where it was starting to become uncanny. It didn't feel that bad watching the show. but it's still a little odd.
Right, yeah. I'm still gonna watch it week to week because I'm very familiar with the character and I want to see where they go.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't want to miss a week of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to like this show.
I want to too, but soon as the first trailer,
we need something to like, really.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like
this episode is like the trailer, pretty much.
Yeah.
Of just like we see how she gets her power and see her learning the powers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Let me think. I really wanted to like the show, and then the trailer dropped, and my expectations started to go down.
Oh.
Again, there's still hope. I really want to like this. I want to like everything. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. If episode 2 can really deliver the humor, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing about this trying to be a comedy. I didn't really think that this was a comedy. So you've been watching it. And that
promoted comedy. I'm not getting comedy.
See, and it's also part of the problem with the MCU is that the entire thing is a comedy. You're like they try to make everything so comedic that when they actually do a comedy, it doesn't stand out. Because Thor, Taika's comedy. You have James Gunn, who's a comedy. So you have a lot of these comedy-centered films, besides the main banter of the films, the other films. And now we're here, this is supposed to be comedy-centered, and it just feels like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else is comedic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know if I would find this funny, even if it was its own show.
Yeah,
based on this first episode.
Just in the first episode, which the first episode is fine. It's basic. It's like tells you everything that you could think of.
Mm-hmm.
So like we see Jennifer, we see the car crash. Typically what's done is that she has a blood transfusion because she loses a lot of blood.
Mm-hmm.
But here, like, Bruce's blood accidentally gets on her and she turns into She-Hulk, which I think makes more sense for Bruce's character here because he wouldn't want to do anything with his own blood.
You actually make a good point. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that works.
I feel like there are always people are like upset that they changed the origin story. There was a reason, and I think this was a good reason.
This was a good reason. Like, it made sense, even though they had to do it really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm glad they did do it quickly.
They did that. They did do that quickly. But yeah, she is She-Hulk immediately, essentially. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I did get frustrated with her trying to push Bruce off. Like, I kind of get it, but I also struggle with it. I understand being in shock and disbelief and being kind of dismissive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the amount of dismissal.
Yeah, there's so much dismissal, and like Bruce is this character who has gone through a lot to get to this point, and she just does it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's immediately in tune with her Hulkness.
I think it's one thing for her to automatically be in tune with herself. I think it's another thing for her to be that overconfident, and it makes her feel like imagine like Peter Parker was just like, oh yeah, I'm Spider-Man, I can do whatever I want kind of feel.
Right.
Especially with Tom Holland. Like it's like I don't think Tom Holland was went that far, but also he did, especially in Homecoming, went against Stark's command many times. And it's just giving off that vibe of I have to say it, immaturity, and it kind of hurts to see that coming from an adult in comparison to a child.
Right. There's a line where like Bruce is talking about, I used your blood and they healed my arm. And like instead of her questioning, it's like, I wonder why that is. It's like, oh, it's because I'm better than you. Which is, it's something that's really happening a lot in women-centric shows.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like in Batwoman, it's like they have to be better than their original character, and like trash them down.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, they try to have a good balance, but there was still that undertone at times.
I mean, I do feel like that is going to be. It's funny because a lot of people have complained about that with this new phase of the MCU, but really, that hasn't been the case until now.
Yeah, no.
And so I feel like those people can go shut up until they hit the show. But like, I don't know. Like again, I understand. Like that is the general trend these days, or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it depends how you do it. And again, it's still really early with this show.
Yeah.
But it's also probably going to be the general tone of the show. I think what is going to be the most interesting is to see how she deals with the consequences of her actions. Because no matter if she's better or not, the choices she makes, has consequences, whether good or bad. And so I think that's going to be interesting to see. And then how will she react to those choices? And will those choices help her or hurt her? At the end of the day, we know she's going to be the victor of the show because it is her own show. But I think that process will be interesting to see.
Right. Something I did like is that she doesn't want to be a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, we've not had a character like that so far in the MCU. And like, it's interesting. It's different. So it's cool to see that someone doesn't want to be a hero. And Bruce is just forcing her because she has this power, essentially. So we'll see what happens there. I can't say that she is the She-Hulk here is nothing like the She-Hulk that I knew from the shows that I watched. Particularly is that the She-Hulk that I know there's a difference between her and Jennifer Walters, where this Jennifer Walters was a little unconfident in herself, and She-Hulk was her confident side.
Almost like the Peter Parker thing.
Right. And that she'd never want to turn back into Jennifer because she wanted to be confident all the time. To a point where there's a story where she turns back and realizes that she doesn't need to be She-Hulk to be confident in herself. Here, like, she's just She-Hulk.
Really interesting.
Yeah, here she's just She-Hulk and the same character. Like, there's no difference between their personality. Whereas before there is. So She-Hulk doesn't stand out as a character to me here. But we'll see.
So, do you want me to give one piece of information I know about Daredevil, or do you want to be surprised?
You can say.
So, someone who got advance episodes, the first 4 episodes, said no Daredevil. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, so these first 4 episodes, no Daredevil. So starting
I had said episode 5 or 6. So
you did? Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm still curious if we're gonna get the classic episode 4. You know what I mean?
Remind me what that one was.
It's just like all these MCU shows, like episode 4 is like that episode.
Okay.
Where like either there's a big cliffhanger or it's just a gargantuan episode.
The slow down episode. Okay.
Yeah, so like in Loki, like that was the episode where he got sent to the Void World. What If, it was the Doctor Strange episode. Hawkeye, Yelena was revealed. It just always seems like episode 4 has like that moment. So I am curious if we're gonna get one.
Right. So here's something that says something about Abomination. In that his character, Tim Roth, his character is completely different because he's more comedic in this one.
Which I'm fine with.
Sure, I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen that character, so he's probably changed throughout the years.
Yeah, if they, I mean, I'm not gonna ask for it, but if we get a reasoning or like an explanation of like how the past, I don't know, 10 years has been for him, then maybe that will also help with that transition. But also, like, he never necessarily had any character development in the past. And also, I guess, sitting in prison for the past 10, 15 years would probably make him stir crazy. So
I mean, minus like the times where he gets to go out and fight in cages for fun.
Yeah.
How does that work? I don't know.
Hopefully we'll find out.
Hopefully.
So should we talk about the post-credit scene thing?
Oh, yeah. That one. The Captain America thing that everyone is like loving.
Of course.
Yeah. Let's see. What did I write? Yeah. Steve becomes less of a gentleman in every new film or project he's in the MCU. Yeah. No, I think
we started to see that. I think the first noticeable one was Endgame for me, when they're like, "Yeah, let's have him cuss this time."
I mean, it's slowly as he's like in the new world. We see it's really Age of Ultron and Civil War where like that's starting to happen.
Really?
They're really small.
I hadn't really noticed back then. I almost feel like with Endgame it was almost like that fan service thing. Like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we had our good guy, like the squeaky clean guy, cuss a little bit, like, and let's make people laugh by doing that. That's kind of the vibe I got from Endgame, which they can do what they want, whatever. But
for Endgame, it's like telling the audience that this man is serious now about what's going on. That he doesn't care about his morality. He's just ready to go. Because like that's when he's talking about going and killing Thanos. Like after what happened, he's like, "Let's go get this." But yeah, no. So here, it's officially Captain America lost his virginity in 1943 on the SOU tour. And that's like when he's like in the dancing thing selling bonds. And the thing is, see, that would work if it was anyone but Captain America. Because he is just so old-fashioned, and back then you wouldn't really do that. As much.
I don't know what the times
it happened
were back then.
It happened, of course, but like Steve's character didn't really seem like the character that would do that. Like he would be the one to find the right partner. Is the words that he'd say all the time in that film.
Especially with the one like kiss attempt, or I think she did kiss him in the first Avenger and how uncomfortable he felt.
So like, yeah, like if this was modern times, yeah, definitely people would do that. But like,
also you're saying like he did this during his little America tour. You're saying
yes.
That was after he met Peggy, so that really wouldn't make sense.
It kind of would, because he didn't really meet Peggy again until much later.
He still met Peggy and had some interest, and the whole movie was.
But like he had no knowing if he was going to meet her again until she shows up at the camp, and like he meets her again. That's people's explanation anyway. But yeah, no, it's disappointing.
I will admit, the last line did make me laugh. It honestly did. However, yes, I do hate the fact that it was reduced to a joke. A joke that wasn't necessary, a joke that wasn't needed. I do hate the fact that it was reduced to a joke like this. And kind of
sullies Captain America's integrity.
I guess that's going to be a big fear with this show. Who else are we going to demoralize in the show for the sake of comedy?
We'll see. One thing I did like is that we got to see Bruce talk about Tony.
Yes.
And like their time together. And
I was so mad when they destroyed the thing. I was so pissed.
I know. So like the time frame I'm thinking is like after the first Avengers movie. Because we do see Bruce and Tony hang out after Iron Man 3, where Tony's telling him his story. So that would be the time to do it. Or also during the blip, but...
I was getting blip vibes, but honestly, who knows?
I mean, blip vibes, sure. But I think Tony would build him a little cabin after the Avengers film. One thing that people were comparing She-Hulk to, were like, especially in reviews, was like, they're trying to make her Better Call Saul.
Really?
Because this week, Better Call Saul ended. The finale, the show's done. The finale came out. Watched it. Show's done. I really enjoyed it. The last few episodes, it was slower because like the main thing was over with. Now they're just wrapping things up. It was still good.
Kind of like the last 30 minutes of a Stranger Things finale, but several episodes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's still things to wrap up story-wise, but like, it was just kind of like, it's the smaller stuff. It's not the strongest ending. I think Breaking Bad had the stronger one, but this was still the logical ending that was had. Something that I'd also been watching off and on for like a year now was Teen Titans Go, which was like the remake of the Teen Titans, but like more comedic, that people hate. I finally caught up to the show, so it was fun. And also, what I finished this week was X-Men Evolution. And so out of the 3 X-Men shows that I've seen, this one's probably the best one.
Really?
In terms of execution, like there's still a lot of elements that just don't work anymore. Again, it's in the 2000s. The characters are high school students, so you have that 2000s high school student vibe, which means you'll have episodes and stories and moments where like the kids, they make their own troubles that are so avoidable because they're kids. It's not fun to see. But what the show did well is that it built up the world through the episodes to the point where Magneto doesn't like show up. Like they build him up. Like he's secretly there. Like you don't see his face into the finale, and when he shows up, like he's menacing. He's a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the same thing. It's like they build it up, and then after 2 seasons, they changed the way the show works. Where like now mutants, everyone's been revealed as a mutant to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes their school dynamic because everyone's don't like them anymore.
Mm.
And then we build up Apocalypse to the final season, and it's like everything comes together, and it's just rewarding.
Mm.
And that's why I feel like this show does the best in terms of just building up to a satisfying conclusion. Where the other shows, the 90s show, I liked because the character designs and the stories were taken from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were good designs and good stories, at least ideas. Wolverine and the X-Men, I love the voice cast. I think that's the best voice cast you can have for the characters. Plus, like some of the interpretation of those characters and how the story naturally told itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they were to do a new X-Men show unrelated to this stuff, I would have them combine these elements, and it'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was surprised because, like, you know, the last time we talked, like, I'd only finished like 1.5 seasons of the show,
Mm-hmm.
and like, you really need to like watch all the way through to really like it.
Mm.
I really liked it by the end. One thing of note, though, is that the show came out right before the first X-Men movie.
Really?
And after the movie came out, after the first couple seasons, they changed Logan's design to resemble Hugh Jackman's costume.
Interesting.
So instead of having the Wolverine's classic Wolverine costume, he has this boring leather costume, which really sucked. Just took away all that Wolverine design.
That is weird.
It is weird. I don't like the character designs in this show in general. Because, like, they really like goth in this show for some reason. I don't know why, but they like goth. We got Goth Rogue. Wanda is super goth as well. It's what it is. But hey, there you go. That's that show. And so for movies, I watched the horrible 90s American Godzilla movie. Just rewatching it. It's not great. Then I watched some more DC animated movies, part of the new Rebirth stuff. Which is all of this explanation means nothing to you.
Did they go to a strip club in Branson again?
No, they did not.
Aww.
No, here they're starting from scratch, building a new universe slowly. But sadly might never amount to anything if DC and Warner's doing what's doing now. The film I saw, it's an anime movie called Ride Your Wave. It's about grief and then just learning to just do things on your own. It was a pretty sweet movie. And the very last thing I saw is the Barbie stuff that I'm doing. This last one I saw was just great. Really like
awesome.
It's the best one so far. We had a good time on the podcast.
Good.
So yeah, that's what we did for that.
You know what? I actually remembered. I did watch a few other things.
Cool.
I was at someone's place Thursday night and we watched 2 movies with a handful of other people. The second one I'll just get out of the way. The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, had you not seen that?
I had not seen that.
Oh, I was going to suggest that to you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched it. I thought it was really solid.
I love that movie. It's so solid.
Not to say like I'm in love with it. Oh my gosh, yada yada. But like for what it is and what Disney has done, I thought it was really solid. So
it is really solid. It's just like I don't know why I forget about it, but when I remember, it's like, yeah, that's a really solid movie.
Yeah, fun concept, and I like Kronk.
You got the characters.
Pacha is a solid character.
Pacha.
Yeah.
Family Man.
Solid release. Solid release. The first one we watched was a movie called What's Up, Doc?
Okay.
It was a movie from the 70s. It stars Barbra Streisand.
Okay.
It is probably legitimately the funniest movie I've seen.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I don't know what else. Like
it's not a Looney Tunes movie.
Actually, my friend was comparing it to Looney Tunes.
So
it is a live action movie, but like, ironically, the movie ends with the airplane showing a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Well, that makes sense because "What's Up, Doc?" is, of course, Bugs Bunny's catchphrase.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, of course, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Anyone else would know.
Anyone else would.
Everyone else would know. What's up, Doc?
He compared it to Looney Tunes and something else or something. I forget. But yeah, so I guess if Looney Tunes was a live action movie. So like that kind of like slapstick humor, or
okay,
or is it slapstick? Is that the word?
Sure.
Like they're like just. Do I want to say stuff to ruin stuff? I don't know, but it's just either just funny lines or like, someone turns a corner and in that corner was an unexpected place, you know what I mean, kind of thing, and just turns out to be so funny, or avoiding things or whatever. Just
what was that anime thing you were talking about?
Animated?
Anime.
That
your friends were like, oh, you're
I
watching.
don't remember. We never got around to that.
Do you remember what it was, though?
I'd have to ask.
Okay.
I'll try to ask about it. But also, me going on vacation this week, I don't want to ask about it because they'll be like, yeah, let's watch it. Like, nope, I'm out this week.
All right. Still don't know when Thor is going to come out on Disney Plus.
I would like to think it'd be a Disney Plus Day release. That just makes sense. Like what you said, they might be trying to milk that theater money. Yeah,
they might be. Some people are saying it's like, oh, it could be here on Wednesday. But that's only they're following. That's only they're following the logical path of the release schedule. Like, it would be cool if it was on Wednesday, so I could finally see it. But I don't have HBO Max anymore, which is
just in time.
It's just in time for all this crap to happen.
Who knew that would have worked out so well?
It's like, it's less so well, but more like, It's that shame of thing.
It is a shame.
So yeah, I'm starting classes next week.
I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah, it's this week.
Oh, this week. I heard next week.
It's tomorrow. So, gotta get into that again. Waking up at a consistent time.
So would you want to start recording on Sundays?
I mean, Sundays is probably... We'll see. Yeah. I'm still recording the Barbie stuff on Sundays, so like
Right.
yeah, this is what it is.
Okay. What does your Monday schedule look like? I'm just curious.
I'm pretty much done by 3 every day except for Tuesday. Thursday I'm like done at 1.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm done like at 2 every day except for Tuesday. So it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Let me see. Did my item sell? I hope it sold. It did not sell.
I need to list some things on eBay.
It did not sell. No. That's a shame.
I need to list things.
But yeah, that's the worry that we have in life now.
If your thing's sold, which is a good worry, in my opinion.
Yeah, in 1 month, we'll get Andor.
Oh, that's in a month.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
Now I can officially feel the excitement I would have had at the 1st of August, waiting for the end. So I have a whole month till that show comes out.
A whole month. They delayed it a whole month.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, She-Hulk. Hopefully it gets better.
I hope so.
Like, hopefully with the actual lawyer show. I'm not gonna expect it to be better than Better Call Saul in terms of how they handle lawyer stuff, or even Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I just want an enjoyable show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at one point that she was part of the Fantastic Four.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, She-Hulk was part of the Fantastic Four at one point.
Replacing, or was she like added on?
Really depends. Spider-Man was a part of the team as well after Johnny Storm had died at one point in the comics.
Really? I didn't know that.
So he replaced Johnny because Johnny wanted him to.
Mm-hmm. I know he's worked with Fantastic Four. I didn't know he worked as a replacement.
Yeah. So She-Hulk was part of the team at one point. Then she was like, nah, I'm good. I'll be a lawyer again.
There is something that someone that said that the Fantastic Four movie for the MC is not going to be an origin story, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, because there's like some theories that we'll get some characters in this show.
In this show?
Yes.
That'd be wild.
Which is wild. Also, like Doctor Doom is apparently going to be appearing in some movies.
I'm hearing a lot of rumors pointing towards like an end credits appearance for Wakanda Forever.
I've been hearing that too. Also, just other stuff as well, building him up like Thanos, essentially. So something that I've noticed throughout the 3 X-Men shows is that Wolverine did not have bone claws until pretty much until the movie came out.
I know in the 90s one they did the Animanian storyline. From what I remember.
The what?
The doctor who put the Animanium in Wolverine.
Adamantium.
Adamantium. Yeah. Words.
Right.
I don't remember about him having them or not before.
Yeah, but the way the characters talk about it's like they put this in me, and he's always referring to his claws. So in X-Men the '90s show, there is a flashback. In fact, all three shows have a flashback, and in those flashbacks, he doesn't have claws.
Interesting.
And it wasn't until a comic in 2006 called Wolverine Origins, which eventually turned into the X-Men Origins movie, where he has bone claws. And that then becomes adamantium because of that. And I think that's so much better to just have that instead of just like, oh, we just put metal in him. Now he's got claws. Why? We don't know. Which is surprising. What do you think about that?
Honestly, no real thoughts. Because I don't know too much about like comic book origins or stories or comparisons of different things, and I don't really fully remember all the details how the '90s X-Men show detailed it. So, not a lot of thoughts, honestly.
We no thoughts about like better with bone claws or with no claws whatsoever.
Not really. No, not yet. Okay. Not yet. Maybe in a year or two, maybe I'll have more thoughts.
When you finally watch it. Oh, right. So what am I watching now? I started watching the '90s Iron Man show.
Oh, interesting.
How is that? I've only watched the first episode.
How is that first episode?
Oof. It's sadly it's like the same situation with Fantastic Four show. How the first half was like they were wanting to do something to save money with less quality, and it shows heavily. But halfway through, they're gonna switch back, and it'll probably get good by then. So yeah, the first episode was just bad.
That's a rip.
It was a rip. But they both came out in the same year as well.
I guess it also kind of shows the fact that how much like the Iron Man movie truly made the character popular, because it wasn't that popular back then, I guess, from what I've heard. Could be wrong, but
he was popular enough.
It's like, popular enough, but it wasn't like people liked him.
He wasn't Spider-Man levels of popular.
Right.
But Spider-Man was like the big thing with the X-Men. So yeah, like I'm not looking forward to this first batch of episodes that I have to get through. But yeah, I'll also be finishing the Wolverine anime, and then
is that on Disney Plus, right?
That's on Netflix.
Oh, that's on Netflix.
With the X-Men anime, so I can compare that as well. So right now, there's just a lot of X-Men that I've been going through. So yeah, how about you?
It's pretty much just She-Hulk and whatever I want to watch whenever I want to watch it. Like I want to try to finish the Snowdrop series at some point, but I'm still stuck from where I was in like I don't know February or March.
Okay.
I'm terrible at watching things. Maybe when I get married, maybe that will change, but I'm not married, so that's probably not changing anytime soon. I don't know.
It would be nice to just introduce shows to people. That way I can rewatch them. Without
or even kind of being forced to watch them. Like, I want to watch this. All right, let's watch it together. Okay, cool. You know? I don't necessarily like that's like I want to try to watch La La Land with the friend I was mentioning earlier. Like definitely something I've been wanting to watch for a while. But it's probably going to take him kind of forcing me for me to watch it. Nothing against La La Land. I really, 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 really want to watch it. But sometimes it takes that person to like sit you down and be like, let's watch this.
So it's like with me and Star Wars.
Yeah. I guess that's a good way of putting it.
And
Yeah.
eventually you with Lord of the Rings with your other friend.
Yes, that is this week. That is this freaking week.
That's this week?
That's this week.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're not going to be here next week to talk about it. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
So you're watching the theatrical versions?
Yes,
first.
that is what I wanted to do for those who, for the nobody who listens. This is my idea. I want to fall in love with what people originally knew Lord of the Rings to be, and just to truly fall in love with it. And then after watching it, if I truly like it, then I'll want to watch the extended ones. I don't necessarily want to waste my time watching the extended ones and having to try to love that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I bet I might, but for me, I definitely do like to try to know what the project was originally, kind of. So, for example, I didn't watch any of the original Star Wars versions, right? But now that I've seen said remastered versions, do I really want to go back and watch the original versions? You know what I mean? Maybe to watch like some compilation on YouTube to be like, and this is what changed. Outside of that, no way I would want to, try to watch the original one seriously.
I mean, I would just to be curious to see what the difference was.
Right, but you're a fan.
Right.
I'd rather just watch a compilation on YouTube. But
plus,
like
comparisons. I've seen the movie enough to be like, I want to see what the older version is. Also, because there's really no way to view the older version as well. So, yeah.
Speaking about versions, extended versions, whatever, just real quickly. The Spider-Man No Way Home, the More Fun Stuff version is confirmed to have an additional 11 minutes.
Which I assume is going to be more towards the opening.
Could very possibly be so. But the thing is with like the deleted scenes that never made it to the DVD, they did have a 4-minute bit of the Spideys talking or whatever. So we could have a good additional 2 minutes there. I feel like that could be possible. Like them on Statue of Liberty, we probably could have additional 2 minutes.
So is that releasing on?
I believe Labor Day weekend.
In theaters?
In theaters, yes.
Okay.
Tickets go on sale this Tuesday.
Well, like if they release it on Blu-ray, I'll buy that version.
Yeah. I don't know. Like if someone wants to go see it in theaters, I'll go with them, kind of thing. I don't. Definitely not something I'd be hyper like wanting to watch on my own. But if I do end up wanting to watch it, then I'm not gonna on my own. Then I'm not gonna go to the effort to watch in IMAX. I'll wait till it hits the cheaper theater.
Right.
But also, I would rather want to watch it with more people, which is probably going to be IMAX, so I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. The interesting thing with No Way Home is that, like, I've seen it, I don't know, 3 times probably at this point. And, like, it's one of those movies that's, like, I know my thoughts on it, and I don't care what people say. It's, like, been broken down for me enough. But it's also, like, I'm not that anxious to rewatch. It's a really interesting conundrum for me because there's like some movies where I barely know that I don't necessarily want to be broken down for me. Like when I initially watched Inception, like I didn't want to, read stuff online or whatever. Right. Now that I've seen it, I don't know, like 4 times. Now it's like I really don't care how people have broken it down, what they don't like about it. I know my thoughts on it, kind of thing.
Cool. So I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you to watch Lord of the Rings. Just a thing to keep in mind that it's a very thematically heavy film.
Okay.
So there's a lot of themes in it that aren't made obvious. Well, they are, but they aren't.
Okay.
Because a lot of it's just doing visuals for Tolkien's books where he heavily describes things, where here we just see it visually without the description, so you just really have to figure it out for yourself.
Okay.
So we'll see how you do.
So kind of on that note, So we got the Game of Thrones prequel.
Mm-hmm.
That's a HBO Max thing, so I guess you won't be watching it immediately.
No.
And then we have the Lord of the Rings thing, which is on Prime, which I'm assuming you don't have right now.
We have Prime, yeah.
Oh, you do have Prime. How anxious are you to watch that?
When does it come out?
In the next week or two.
I don't really know when it comes out. So when it comes out, I'll probably watch it with Mom.
I think September 3rd.
Because we both like Lord of the Rings.
Is it? No, it can't be September 3rd because that's Disney Plus Day.
I think they pushed it back a bit.
That makes sense.
And let's see. Yeah, there was also news about Lord of the Rings. The rights to the IP was sold.
Again.
To a different studio. Which means they can make a bunch of stuff.
So does that put the Amazon thing in danger for its future?
Possibly.
That is crazy.
It's that plus like people are not happy about this specific studio having it because it means that they're gonna just tarnish it by making as much money as they can from it. So they'll make video games, they'll make prequels, sequels that are not related to Tolkien's original vision. Which, like, Tolkien did not want his IP to be monopolized like this, industrialized like this, but now it is, which is sad to see. Which is really the same thing with Lucas and Star Wars, but you know what happens. So we'll see. People are worried.
So it will be early September. Google says September 2nd and Oracle says September 1st. So essentially, first few days of September.
Correct.
Okay, it's based on time zone.
Most likely.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. I don't have that much of a connection to Lord of the Rings, but to hear that the rights have been sold and the potential for like this series, whether good or bad, might not quote finish.
So we don't know what it means for the series.
Okay.
Or if the series like is one told season.
Okay.
We don't really know until we see it. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll see. But that will definitely affect my interest in watching the show and when I watch it.
Yeah, because like the show is just it's kind of on its own with some visual connection to Peter Jackson. Ah, right. That's a thing that happened. So Peter Jackson approached them and said, if you would like me to just take a look at your scripts, like, you know, because like I did the other movies. If you wanted my help, like you can, and they just completely ignored him.
Wow.
Like not even a response. They just ignored him completely. Which is not really a big deal, but people are like, they don't care. They probably don't. But I can go about that, but we haven't seen the show, so I'll save some things until it comes out. And do you have anything else to say for this week?
No, I will say I just did a quick Google search about the date, and apparently, according to Google Trends, there's more interest in the Game of Thrones prequel than there is about the Lord of the Rings.
Well, it just came out, so yeah.
Within the past 30 days. Okay. So, both releasing essentially a week or two within each other. That's interesting. We'll see what happened in the end. I thought there was more interest in the Lord of the Rings thing, but we'll see.
It's because like there's been so many months of just negativity surrounding the series.
I guess people actually have hope for the Game of Thrones thing.
I mean, sure, because Game of Thrones is its own thing. What they're hoping is what will not happen to get to Lord of the Rings is that they'll turn it into Game of Thrones and like make it. They're essentially just muddying the purity of Tolkien's ideals and just making it like, oh, instead of having this be more of a family thing, it's like, oh, we'll put our own PC thoughts into it. Which is part of the worry, which I guess I'll mention this now. When Peter Jackson was doing Lord of the Rings, one big note that he was saying to the writers is like, we made a huge commitment to not put our modern views into this film, like our modern politics and stuff into this film, because that's not what the film is about. And compared to what the writers were saying about the new show, it's like, so when we were like looking at the material, we saw that it connected to a lot of stuff that's happening today. So like it just really, worked out and just connected, and so it makes people so worried about what's gonna happen. On that note, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.